28th Amendment to finally be published. It is time. I also have another version of the more full ERA bill, as well as one that asks us to look through statute and make sure that we are ready and able to be in full compliance with the 28th Amendment, assuming that it is in fact now the law of the land. And we want to make sure that Minnesota law is in line, right? So those things are really important. And then probably next year we will undertake another bill. So I'm not sure a lot of folks realize, but the Minnesota State Constitution has a number of anomalies in it that actually speak to gendered language that is not inclusive of everyone, right? So for example, it might say the governor, he will sign the bill. And while I love Governor Walz, I think we all admit that we also love Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and we have loved our Lieutenant Governor Smith, and God willing, one of these days, we will in fact have a woman in that seat as governor. So we are excited about that. So we do want to at some point address those items in the Constitution. The other issue in the Constitution is it also refers to our head Supreme Court Justice, which, as many of you know, has been a woman for quite some time. Chief Justice Lori Gilday has been doing a fabulous job holding it down in the Supreme Court here in Minnesota, and we would like that if she is going to be represented in the Minnesota State Constitution and uphold that document, that she's actually in it, right? And so I think that's really important. As far as where the bills are here in the House, so the federal resolution did in fact pass through committee and it went to the general register, which means it is just awaiting a floor vote to get passed. The other bill, the ERA in the state constitution, which is a constitutional amendment, in other words, bringing it before the voters to let them weigh in on whether they think everyone should be equal under the law. That bill made it through committee and it is now being teed up to be heard in the Judiciary Committee. Now we know they have a very full plate in Judiciary, but I have spoken to the chair, as has Representative Herr, and we've been very clear that we need it heard, and we need it heard now. So, and we've also spoken a great deal with leadership, with friends in our Reproductive Freedom Caucus. We have made very abundantly clear to them that ERA forms a fundamental legal foundation for everything that we are doing for women. And without that constitutional backstop, the political winds could shift. We could undo statute. Courts can change. But what is a lot harder to undo is the Constitution, right? So we want a constitutional amendment. We want it to go before the voters. And I firmly believe that given the opportunity, that the people of Minnesota will resoundingly say yes to equality, yes to women, yes to the ERA. So I am very excited about that. And, you know, I will tell you as an anecdote, on election night, when we finally got the news that we had a trifecta, literally the very first thing in my mind was we can pass the ERA. Yes. Finally! It's only been 100 years since we had the right to vote. It's only been a couple hundred years where we fought so hard and so long. And if we're going to be perfectly honest, it's been thousands of years where women have been pushing for equality. And so it is time. It is, you know, as much as I love being a part of this elite chain of women fighting for equality, I'm happy to give up that mantle if we can finally make it happen. So thank you to all of you, because literally everyone in this room, and I can tell you, I often say that I stand on the shoulders of great women who have got us to this point today. And a lot of those women are in this room today. And I am just so grateful for all of the fight and all of the energy and the passion that we have had to continually put forward generation after generation after generation. And I hear so many people say, you know what? Are we doing this beep again? Like, really? Back in the 70s I was doing this. We are ready. Everyone is ready. And so we are on the precipice of potentially passing the ERA in the state constitution. We are on the precipice of being able to publish the federal ERA. So pat yourselves on the back. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for everyone in this room for all of the amazing things you have done. And yes, to my intern in the corner also. and to our gentleman over here too. We have a lot of good women and a few good men, all in this room, but all with the same mission to make sure that equality under the law is in fact the law of the land. So thank you again for being here. Thank you.
So then, Suzanne, I know some new people have come. So if you want to tell them too about the Senate, tell them the good news of the
Yes, the
governor.
good news, if you've just gotten here, the good news is that we had a committee hearing today in the Senate, the Rules Committee. The only items on the agenda were our two ERA bills, and they both passed. General Register, which is for a floor vote. So they are ready to come to the floor, and that's where you'll watch the fur fly. Some more questions around the language, the wording, and so it's not over yet. We got on the Senate side, we need the floor vote, and we'll need people to show up and be visible and supporting, contacting their legislators to make sure that they're supportive. So yes, big win. We're celebrating. Put on the purple hat for International Women's Day. Grab a snack, and we have cards. We are launching people out into see their legislators and to be visible around the Capitol with your hats. International Women's Day. Grab a button. Talk to people as you go by and let them know it's International Women's Day and that we are fighting for equality. So that's the message, and we've got folks that can lead us around. We have a new person to go out. Are people ready to launch?
I can take a group.
Okay. Where do you want to go? House or here?
I think it depends on who we have people.
We just sent a bunch of the Senate.
So we'll do house. We'll run the house.
State office building.
Yeah.
And this is great, guys, because this really helps us stand out in a busy day.
Yeah.
Legislators, even if you're a legislator, if you don't see them there,
In the house.
take the postcard, write a note, say thank you. Thanks the legislators.